The zipper refused to budge at exactly 6:42 a.m., which is the kind of time that already feels personal. The kind of time where coffee hasn't kicked in, the sky outside is still undecided about daylight, and a man's entire sense of dignity is hanging by a strip of metal smaller than a finger. Ethan Caldwell stood in his childhood bedroom, now his adulthood fallback plan, staring down at his winter jacket like it had betrayed him. The zipper sat frozen halfway up his chest, teeth clenched together in a metallic smirk. He tugged once. Nothing. He tugged harder. Still nothing. The room smelled faintly of old pine furniture polish and reheated coffee from downstairs, where his mother had already been awake for an hour, pretending not to notice that her 32-year-old son was still living at home. Outside, Millbrook, Ohio, stretched awake slowly. Rows of modest houses lined streets named after trees, maple, cedar, birch, each with thin snow crusted along sidewalks like leftover frosting. Pickup trucks idled. A school bus hissed. Somewhere a garage door groaned like it had arthritis. Ethan exhaled, slow and tired, his breath fogging slightly in the cold air seeping through the window frame. The jacket wasn't new. It was a decade old, navy blue, with a torn lining and a zipper that had always been temperamental. Like him, smart when it worked, useless when it didn't. He tried again. The zipper stuck harder. Of course, he muttered. Why wouldn't today be the day? Today mattered. Today was his last interview at the Millbrook Community Center, custodial supervisor position. Not glamorous. Not what teenage Ethan had imagined while sketching startup logos in the margins of his notebooks. But it was stable. Health insurance. A foot back into adulthood. He braced the jacket with one hand and yanked with the other. RP. The zipper slid an inch, then jammed harder. Now his jacket was neither open nor closed. It sagged awkwardly, exposing the wrinkled button-down shirt underneath, ironed poorly, collar slightly uneven. He looked like a man stuck halfway between trying and giving up, which, to be fair, felt accurate. Downstairs, his mother, Linda Caldwell, sipped coffee at the kitchen table, glasses perched low on her nose, reading the local paper like it still mattered. She didn't look up when she heard the stomping footsteps. "Zipper?" she asked calmly. Ethan froze in the doorway. "How do you always know?" he said. "Because you only stomp like that when something small breaks and you take it personally." She finally glanced up, took in the jacket, the stuck zipper, the defeated posture. "Oh honey," she said. "That thing's been threatening to quit since Obama's first term." "I don't have time for this," Ethan said, checking his phone. 6:51 a.m. wind advisory. Feels like 19 degrees. Linda stood, walked over, and examined the zipper like a mechanic diagnosing an engine. She tugged once, gently. "Nothing." "Well," she said, "you could wear your father's old coat." Ethan grimaced. "That thing smells like motor oil and regret." She smiled softly, still warmer than pride. He sighed, shoulders slumping. The irony was thick. After years of things going wrong in big ways, college dropout, startup failure, layoffs, it was a zipper that might derail his shot at stability. Outside, the town moved on without him. Inside, the zipper held firm. Ethan finally left the house with the jacket half-zipped, scarf wrapped awkwardly to compensate, hands shoved deep into his pockets. The wind sliced through him anyway, sharp and unapologetic. Millbrook felt smaller when you walked it instead of driving. You noticed things, cracked sidewalks, handwritten, "for sale," signs, the way neighbors waved out of habit more than enthusiasm. At the corner, Mr. Walter Green, retired steelworker and unofficial town philosopher, was scraping ice off his windshield. "Morning, Ethan," he called. "Jacket giving you trouble again?" Ethan forced a smile. "Zipper's staging a protest." Walter chuckled. "Funny thing about stubborn parts. They teach you patience, or humility, or hypothermia," Ethan said. Walter laughed harder. Further down, outside Rosie's diner, Jasmine Morales stood smoking, hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing a pink apron over a hoodie. She eyed Ethan's jacket. "That zipper still broken?" she asked. "Emotionally or mechanically?" "Both, from the look of it." She flicked her cigarette away. "If you survive today, come by later. Coffee's on me." Ethan nodded, warmth spreading despite the cold. Millbrook had that effect. It noticed you, even when you felt invisible. Especially then. The Millbrook Community Center smelled like floor cleaner and basketball rubber. The walls were covered in flyers, yoga classes, senior bingo, youth basketball tryouts. It was the heart of the town, beating quietly. Ethan sat across from Tom Riley, facilities director, late 40s, practical haircut, eyes tired but kind. Tom glanced at Ethan's jacket, still half-zipped. "Cold out there?" he asked. "Colder than my savings account," Ethan replied before he could stop himself. Tom laughed. "Fair answer." They talked about responsibility, about teamwork, about showing up even when things weren't perfect. Ethan spoke honestly, not polished, but real. He talked about failure, about learning, about wanting to contribute. Mid-sentence, the zipper slid down on its own, slowly, dramatically, until the jacket fell completely open. Ethan froze. Tom raised an eyebrow. "Well," Tom said, smiling, "guess it made the decision for you." Ethan laughed, genuine, relieved, human. And something shifted. When Ethan walked out of the building, the clouds had begun to thin. Sunlight broke through, weak but determined. The zipper was still broken, but Ethan was standing a little straighter. Sometimes the thing that exposes you is the thing that finally lets you breathe. The zipper never got fixed. Not right away. That turned out to matter more than anyone expected. Ethan got the job, probationary, part-time at first. He showed up early every day, jacket still half-functional, greeting people by name, learning how the building breathed. Seniors noticed. Kids noticed. The staff noticed. One morning, during a youth basketball tournament, a kid's backpack zipper broke. Panic. Tears. Game delayed. Ethan knelt down, pulled out a paperclip, bent it just right. "Temporary fix," he said. "But sometimes temporary gets you where you need to go." The kid smiled like Ethan had performed magic. Word spread. Soon Ethan was the guy people came to. Not because he had all the answers, but because he tried. Because he improvised. Because he didn't hide broken things. Spring came slowly. Jackets opened. Zippers loosened. Ethan still wore his. Because it reminded him. At the annual Millbrook Spring Fair, Ethan stood near the booth he helped build. The banner read, "Fix what you can. Show up anyway." Linda hugged him. Walter clapped his shoulder. Jasmine handed him coffee. Tom Riley leaned over. "You know," he said, "we're making your position full-time." Ethan laughed, eyes wet. The zipper fluttered in the breeze. Still broken. Still perfect. Funny how life doesn't always fix what's broken. Sometimes it teaches you how to use it anyway.
Like and subscribe if you want daily dose of happiness and motivation.